All right. Sorry, I'm losing my place here.
Here we are. We're doing.
We
we're
just
back at it
started.
again.
How could you lose your place?
He doesn't know how to begin a sentence.
We're playing the same game that we've always been playing, except now it's not the same.
It's different.
It's different.
Welcome to Nothing Important. Today we're playing Is It Canon? With a twist.
With a twist.
An X twist.
Ooh.
That's right. We're doing the
Who
X-Men.
could it be?
He just said it's the X-Men.
Leave
Joe,
him.
keep up.
Today we're doing the X-Men.
Yeah, so there's so many X-Men, and the storylines are so complicated that it's not fair to Joe to ask him to figure out which one is a lie, because I've read a lot of X-Men stories, and if you were to just explain them to me, I would probably tell you that they're fake to begin with.
Let's tell Joe about Executioner's song.
Oh my God! Let's never speak about Executioner's song. So and there's also
No, tell me.
Off camera.
there's also a trillion X people. So and it would take an entire hour just to list the cast for a single issue. So instead, what we're gonna do is each one of us has come in with 3 X characters. 2 of the characters that we're each going to be presenting are actual characters that exist in the comics, and one of them we each made up. So Joe gets 3 questions per person, not 3 questions per character. He gets 3 that he can spend on whoever he wants, and he gets 1 chance to guess who's the fake character from each person.
So I might win one.
Yeah, the chances of Joe getting something right have gone up or gone down.
The laws of probability dictate.
I'm not great with math, but he's got 3 opportunities, but he also has 3 different people to choose from. So.
Yeah, and we're all, like filthy.
Very good.
We're all filthy liars. So, we'll see what happens. Will Joe be happy, or will he be extra sad in this one? We'll find out.
I think he's sad already.
He's already sad, but we'll find out to what degree his sadness reaches at the end of this.
What's the over-under that he doesn't get a single one?
Oh,
My money's on he gets it all wrong. 'Cause I love him, but I don't believe in him.
I'm gonna make you lose that bet, Jesse.
Joe, I
want
believe
you
that
to.
you'll get 1.
Solid 1.
Watch.
A solid
I get
1.
them all.
All right, well,
I just wreck ship this time.
let's find out.
Send him your energy.
Yeah, send him your energy.
I need the good vibes.
Much like
Bad vibes here.
much like
Very
Gaku
bad.
needs your energy to be sent to do the spirit bomb, Joe needs that to use his brain power.
That's not Gaku. That's Raditz.
Jeremy, go first.
Round 1. Fight.
So, Joe, I have 3 characters here for you. Would you like me to present them to you in alphabetical order or in publication order? Excellent. So we're going to go in alphabetical then, because that's how I have them listed here.
Right.
So first up, we have the character Lenny Del Toro, who's known by the code name Big Dog. Ow! That's his catchphrase. He goes, Big Dog, ow. So his powers are, he has a wolf-like appearance. So he's kind of like Beast, where he's like a big furry guy. But his actual power is that he can grow in size up to 25 feet easily. And he has a max height of 50 feet, but he can only hold that for 2 minutes before he starts to faint.
It's a big dog.
It's a big dog. He's 15 when we're introduced to him. He shows up for the first time in New X-Men, Academy X, number 9 from 2005.
There's a lot of colons.
The book is called New X-Men, Academy X, because it's about students at the school. It was by the team of Nunzio De Filippis, Christina Weir, and Michael Ryan. So he's introduced as a part of in this series. Each X-Man has their own little squad of students that they're training that's like selected for them because they can help them the best or whatever. So he's a part of Beast's team called the Exemplars. And Beast wants to mentor him because they're both furry, and he's like, I'll teach you how to like carry yourself.
I'll teach you how to be furry.
Yeah. He's like, I'm furry. I'll show you how to put on a suit as a furry guy. I'll show you how to function in polite society.
I'll teach you how to
take a bath.
Yeah, because Hank McCoy is the ultimate neo-lib and is all about integration and assimilating and getting people to ignore the fact that he's a mutant.
I'll teach you how to shave your legs, kid. You got to go with the grain, not against it.
Yeah, so he's like, he's like, so Lenny, I'm going to train you to like, you know, how to use your powers and how to like function and be a hero, but unfortunately, Lenny is kind of a dumbass. He was like a big jock before his powers catalyzed and made him all furry. And so Beast gets frustrated with him very easily. And during this series, he takes his team on a mission, and him and Lenny get separated from the rest of the team in like a cave-in. And the cave is going to collapse on them some more. And so Beast is like, I can get out to, I can escape and then get help for you, but you have to grow to your max height so that I can get out of there. There's not enough room if you just do your regular 25. So he's like, all right, I'm going to trust you, Dr. McCoy. And so he does that, and he's like pushing his limits, and Hank gets out, and he's like, all right, you're going to go get help for me now, right? And then he looks over his shoulder at Lenny and gives him like this dirty look, like, you make me look bad because you embarrass me as a fellow furry mutant, and he leaves him there for the cave to collapse on him.
It's a very Hank McCoy thing.
It is a very Hank McCoy thing to do. He's a bad person.
Classic Hank.
And when he gets back to the rest of his squad, they're all like, what happened to Lenny? Where'd he go? And he's like, oh, he was such a noble hero and sacrificed himself so that I could escape and continue teaching future generations of mutants. And they build a statue for him on the school grounds, and like they memorialize him, but we, the audience, know what happened to him. And then later on, during the Necrotia storyline, where an evil witch brings all of the dead X-Men characters back to life to kill the other X-Men characters. He comes back and fights with Hank and is like, did you tell anybody the truth of what happened to me? And they're all like, what is he talking about? And then he exposes Hank, and everyone is like, wow, that was really fucked up of you to do, Hank. Like, you just let a child die. And he goes, it's not the first time I've done that.
Classic Hank.
Classic Hank. And then the storyline ends, and Lenny dies again. He goes all the story at the end of the event. All the dead mutants go back to being dead, except for a couple that the writers wanted to keep around. And
it's like that scene in The Simpsons when all the zombies are going back to their graves.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, I think you're in my grave. I'm Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith, 1867. My mistake.
Yeah, it's really just, they're all like, all right, event is over. Time to return to the afterlife. And they turn into dust or something. But now in the 2019 soft reboot, House of X, Powers of 10 by writer Jonathan Hickman,
you fucking nerd.
It's in this, they figure out how to bring all the dead mutants back to life using like a group of mutants get together, and they use their powers in tandem, and they can like grow new bodies and upload your consciousness into it. And so we know that he's back on their new sovereign island nation, where all the mutants live, because he's been seen in the background of the current New Mutant series running around with other wolf and animal-based characters. He runs around with Wolfsbane and Cat's Eye, and he looks like he's having a good time.
What a good dog.
What a good dog. What a good big dog he is.
Best big dog.
I love Lenny, and I picked him especially for you, Joe.
Okay.
Next up, we have this character has one name only, his civilian name. He does not have a last name. His name is Japheth. His code
Say
name,
again.
Japheth.
Japheth.
Japheth. Japheth.
Japheth.
His code name, are you ready for this? His
No.
code name is Maggot.
Cool.
His powers are that he does not have a regular digestive system. Instead, he has
That's me.
Well, it's a little more extreme.
you would think, but what it actually is, Joe, is that instead of having a digestive system in here, instead he has 2 large slugs that live inside of his stomach, and they crawl out of his belly button, and they can consume and digest any solid matter, and then crawl back inside of him.
How is that a mutation?
Once
That's his
again,
mutation.
I reiterate. That's
Just like me. They crawl back inside him and provide him with nourishment, and whenever they go back inside, his skin turns blue and his hair turns white. He's a black guy from South Africa, first of all. Let me start out with that because that's important to his backstory. And he, much like most other black mutants, he for some reason is not allowed to just like be a black guy. He has to like change colors, which is a recurring thing in the X-Men. I don't know what it is. They're always just like, someone's got a weird physical mutation, they're a person of color now. You wouldn't know unless I told you. Am I wrong, Jesse?
You are not wrong.
I'm not wrong. So they crawl back inside him. His skin turns blue. His hair turns white. And then he becomes super strong and durable. And he... Yeah, and it also... The slugs have psychometry, which is... They know the history of whatever they've consumed, and when they go inside of him, he also knows that now. So if he, like, eats a gun, he knows every person who shot the gun.
Whoa.
Like a detective.
Like a detective. Does he do any detective work, you ask? No, he does not. His first appearance was in Uncanny X-Men number 345 from 1997. This was written by Scott Lobdell. Shocker that he would create a weird character like this with art by Joe Madureira. So yeah, he's a black child from apartheid-era South Africa. That's also a big part. He's like left in the South African desert during apartheid because his family cannot afford to take care of him. And he's like this very sickly child. He could barely keep any food down as a kid because his digestive system is not right, but his powers haven't activated. But then Magneto finds him in the desert and activates his powers, which is a strange thing because Magneto can't do that. I don't know why this happens or how it happens, and it's never explained. Magneto...
Was this when Astra was around? Because Astra can do that.
I don't know. It's literally Magneto he descends from the sky, much like Christ.
Yeah, well, it's Magneto.
And touches this boy on the head, and then 2 slugs erupt from his stomach and begin eating rocks. And they crawl back inside of him, and he becomes healthy. I'd also like to let you know that the slugs have names.
Ooh.
They're called Eenie and Meenie. Which I was thinking about this, and like the Eenie Meenie Mo thing originally is like deeply racist.
Really?
Do you know that? Instead of catch a tiger by the toe, it was originally the
No, we're
N-word.
not. Oh my god, I know this. Yes.
So
Holy
did Scott Lobdell know that when he named the slugs Eenie and Meenie? Who's to say?
Yeah, that's really... I don't know. Could be, or he could just... like.
It could just be like
why
a really...
would he also?
Yeah,
like,
it could be a really unfortunate coincidence, but it could also just be like really fucking weird that he
Yeah.
would do something like
it
that.
really could go either way with
And
him.
he's a weird guy who does fucked up things sometimes with his characters, so I wouldn't put it past the man.
Oh man.
And so...
and he still works to this day.
to this day. And so he becomes a very short-lived member of the X-Men before he goes away. No one knows what happens. He doesn't quit. It's just the creative teams change, and they say, I don't want this maggot guy on my team.
Gross slug man.
This is a stupid power. And so he's not seen for a while, and then he's spotted in a crowd scene at a mutant concentration camp. And then the concentration camp gets blown up by Sabretooth. And then, so he's dead, and then he's brought back during the Necrotia arc, and presumably stays alive after that because he's seen periodically in the background of other books after that. I'm not sure if, like, editorial or anybody decided that he was still alive, or if they simply forgot that he was dead and were just rifling through lists of X characters to put into crowd scenes.
I'd say that's probably the more likely thing.
Right? Because a lot of times it's just artists saying, I have to fill out this scene.
Yeah.
Who are some X characters? And every once in a while, you get a character and some nerd is reading the book and goes, wait a second, Diamond Lil died.
I shouldn't be there.
Why is she here? She was touched by Necro or whatever. What was her? Mortis. Mortis touched her with her death touch, and she thudded to the ground because she's made out of diamonds, Diamond Lil is.
Damn you, Mortis. Damn you and your death touch.
Death touch. What a fun power that is.
I wish I had a death touch.
I also wish I had a death touch. And then my last character for you, Joe, is this is Stacy X. Codename Stacy X. Real name Miranda Leavold. Her powers are pheromone control, pheromonal enhanced empathy, and snake skin. She has snake skin, and she can release pheromones that cause involuntary reactions in the people around her. She's introduced in Uncanny X-Men number 399 from 2001. She's created by Joe Casey and Tom Rainey. So her backstory is that she's a prostitute who works at the X Ranch, which is a brothel with just mutant sex workers. Yeah, it's a place it's in the Nevada desert. It's called the X Ranch, much like the Ram Ranch, which is like a ranch where just a bunch of like beefy guys fuck each other. But this is a ranch where a bunch of guys with mutant fetishes come to have sex with mutant women. And so her thing is she can manipulate other people's pheromones. She can, like, offensively, she uses it to, like, make people sick and throw up and, like, incapacitate them like that. But she could also use pheromones to make you bust a nut so hard that you faint.
Huh?
Which is what she does with her clients. She doesn't have to touch. Her whole thing is like, I don't have to touch you to make you come.
Cat, I want you to add a bunch of splat noises to that.
Please.
Please don't.
And so
As
that's what
many as you can.
that's what she does. She's just like, you're trying to shoot me with a gun? Get ready to shoot your load, bad guy. And then he does. And
She doesn't say that. Stop
she doesn't
it.
say that, but that's what happens.
This is a children's comic book.
Children's comic book. When have comics ever been for kids?
That's like, what is that fucking Trey Parker movie, Orgasmo? Where,
I
like,
have no fucking idea what you're talking about
his
right now.
power is that when he touches you, he makes you come, and that's it.
Oh, yeah.
and then he beats the shit out of you.
Yeah, so that's what
Wow,
she does. But she
if
doesn't
we
have-
if we had monetization, this would be fucking. This would end that immediately.
No, we're past the 1 minute mark. We can talk about whatever we want. So
I can say fuck.
yeah, you can say fuck.
Good for you, buddy.
So
Yeah, say it then. You won't.
Fuck.
Oh.
You got me.
So she's on the X-Men for a hot minute. She's the main character of Uncanny X-Men number 400, Joe. The 400th issue.
Straight 400.
Yeah, she's the main character of that issue. And then the creative teams change, and then
What's your name again?
Stacy X.
Stacy X.
Yeah, and there's a rumor that her name was supposed to be X Stacy, like ecstasy, because she makes you come.
I get it.
You get it? Because she makes you come.
Yeah, but we don't want drugs in our children's book.
Yeah, that was what they were like, oh, if we call her ecstasy, people will think of MDMA and they'll want to go to a rave and take it, which is exactly what nerds are doing. The people who are going out and buying Uncanny X-Men number 399 are going to read it and go, ecstasy? Oh, fuck, there's that rave down at that abandoned warehouse in my small town.
I wasn't thinking about going before, but now that I've been reminded of it, now I'm going to go.
I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to buy myself a bunch of candy necklaces and a pacifier, and I'm going to take so much MDMA right now.
Right now. Thanks
Right now.
to X-Men.
The very
Thank
fact
you,
that you
X-Men.
keep calling it MDMA is just like proof
Well, it
of
is.
Proof that he's never taken it ever.
So she's on the X-Men. Creative teams change. Then Chuck Austin takes over. Noted sexist Chuck Austin starts writing the X-Men, and he's like, a sex worker. Everybody better be mean to her right now and remind her that she's a fucking slut all the time. And then she gets embarrassed and her skin falls off because she's embarrassed. She sheds it like a skin. Her ears fall off her head. And then she goes away for a long time. Then she loses her powers in the Decimation, which is an event where the Scarlet Witch says, I hate mutants. I'm a racist. I hate mutants. No more mutants. 98% of mutants lose their powers. She loses her powers and then is back on the street again, working as a prostitute. It's very sad. Then her original creator, Joe Casey, comes back to write a miniseries, and he goes, that didn't happen. Forget that ever happened. And
Fuck Chuck Austin.
Yeah, fuck Chuck. Fuck whoever wrote the thing where she's like a down on her luck prostitute who's like addicted to heroin or something. She's back and she's cool, baby. And then... now she's on the mutant sovereign nation of Krakoa, and she runs a brothel / daycare.
Wait.
The
What?
Burrow? Is that
Hold
the
on.
Burrow?
The
Barrow. The Barrow. The Barrow. She runs a place called the Barrow, where it's like a safe place for mutants to hook up.
This is like something like what Trump supporters think the DNC is.
Yeah,
they're
but
putting
it's-
your kids into a brothel, and that's
Well, they
and
keep
they're
them
selling
separated.
pizza over
It's
there.
a multi-level facility.
One
The
level is
brothel
for...
isn't happening next to the kids.
It's just one-stop shop. You know,
Well,
I got to
because-
drop my kids off at daycare. I might as well get polished off on my way to work.
One of the things on the island is one of the laws is make more mutants. So a lot of mutants are just having unprotected sex and getting pregnant and having babies and going, uh-oh, I don't want a baby.
I just wanted to fuck.
And so what they do is they go to Stacy and they give her their babies, and she's taking care of these babies, and she's also making sure that people are being safe when they have mutant
Sounds
sex.
like Blade Runner shit. Like this is like dystopia. What the fuck?
It is kind of dystopian, yeah, but
The
the
whole
whole
thing
point
is kind of dystopia.
Yeah, the whole point of Krakoa is to make you question the morality of anything that's going on there. It's compelling stuff.
Is this the scene where I saw something recently where like Storm, like T'Challa found Storm like having an orgy with like all of the X-Men?
That is a separate thing.
That's a different. That
That's
happened at a different place.
That's a completely separate thing.
They're all wearing togas for some reason.
Completely separate.
Yeah, that's different.
I'm
Don't
gonna,
worry
I'm gonna,
about that.
Kat, I'll send you the fucking, I'll send you the panel. I want to know who the artist is because it looks like the same artist who does the work for The Boys, and it's just so ugly. It's just so bad.
Yike. So Joe,
Wow.
which of these you got any questions for me?
Those were all wild.
Aren't
Wild
they?
stuff.
Yeah. Which one sounds the most fake?
You still got 3 questions for me. You can ask me
Three
3
quest-
questions.
three
I'm just gonna say
questions.
that last one sounds like horse shit.
Stacy?
Yeah.
You think that's fake over Maggot Man and a dog?
No, maggot. The dog is the most sensible one. It's like, are you crazy? Oh, that's stupid. A dog?
Wait.
No, the man, the albino South African with fucking slugs coming out of his stomach to eat rocks. That's a lot more believable.
I don't know about that. But Wait, so Jake, you haven't heard of any of these characters?
Jake doesn't read
No,
X-Men.
I've heard of them. I've heard of a couple. So.
A couple of them.
I like X-Men, but like they know way more about X-Men than I do. So But I do know at least 2 of these. So
Okay.
At least 2 of them. And at least 2 of them are real.
Oh shit. All right, 3 questions.
Jake definitely thinks that the fake one is real and has no idea.
no, I know which one.
I don't know. I don't think you
I
do.
really don't know, honestly.
I'm trying to help Jeremy here, you ass.
Yeah, Jake, you stop speaking. Because you're fucking me up. You are.
You're confusing him.
You are.
Good.
I thought I had it, and then you said, "Oh, that last one sounds like horseshit," and I'm like,
Ask your questions.
No rules, baby.
What's that second guy's name? Philip?
Japheth.
Japheth. Philip.
Japheth.
Japheth.
So that's just one of his stories, right?
Yeah, him getting touched by Magneto or him
Yeah.
getting blown up in the concentration camp.
Both of them.
Yeah, those are 2 separate things.
Separate stories
Yeah.
at 2 separate times.
Yes.
And he's just in like the X-Men books, just like randomly.
Yeah, a lot since there's
Like in
so
the background.
yeah, since there's
He,
so
like,
many
shows
of
up, then like sometimes it's like, oh, let's focus on Japheth right now.
yeah, they're like, "Oh, Maggot could be useful right now. Let's send him on some squad." But very rarely is he useful. And like usually it's a lot of punching or shooting and less like eating a thing and then knowing what happened to it.
Okay.
It's such a strange thing. He could just have the power to eat something and then know what happened to it instead of having these slugs crawl out of him.
Well, then, but why would we call him Maggot then?
He doesn't have to be called that.
Well, think of a better name that pertains to eating things and knowing things.
Wow, you got me.
What's your next question?
What was the first guy's name again? Dog?
Big Dog.
Yeah, Big Dog.
Big Dog.
Lenny. Was it
Lenny Del Toro.
Del Toro.
Mhm, the
Yeah,
Toro.
Del Toro, like Benicio Del
Yeah,
Toro
like
in The Wolfman.
How clever.
Yeah, they did that.
What did he do again?
He gets big.
All right.
He gets
right.
big and he got
He gets big.
He does. I know, that's right.
The
He
dog
gets
part
big.
is
He gets
inconsequential.
the dog part
Big
is
dog gets big.
He gets
is
big,
is secondary to the
but he can't stay big, otherwise he faints.
yeah.
Xavier was just running out of names that day. He's just like, I don't know, fuck you.
Big dog.
No, the kids come up with
Wait,
their own names.
Yeah, I'm like, does Xavier name all of them? No,
No,
way.
he just named the original team, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they all have weird names. That's
It's
why
like
they're all
you're a
Iceman
Marvel
and
Girl.
Marvel Girl.
You're a fucking beast.
He's going beast mode. Look at this guy. That's what Xavier said when he saw Hank for the first time.
In 1960s.
Yeah.
God, this is so hard. They're all so ridiculous.
It's the X-Men.
Yeah.
I think we're actively making Joe hate comic books.
We're not making a fan here.
It's just
Okay.
Big
Big Dog sounds the most real. I don't know why. He just does.
Uh-huh.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Big Dog. The second one does sound really fake, like you made it up. But why would your mind go there? Make that up.
You don't think Jeremy would make a Maggot Man?
I don't know. Oh,
Oh,
the
wow.
light died.
Don't get distracted.
The lights went
right
out.
now. It's back.
Oh, oh.
Yikes.
Joe's gonna have a seizure.
Shit. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking one.
Okay.
Picking one.
I'm waiting.
I'm gonna say that Stacy X is fake.
Wrong.
Jeremy, which one's real?
Which one was it?
Which one's fake?
Big dog.
Fucking
Big Dog!
Big Dog sounds the most real.
Big dog.
Big dog sounds the most real.
Big
Yeah.
Dog's the most fake.
When Jeremy told me about the big dog one, I was like, it's so stupid and simple. It's like gonna throw him off. It's just like
It's just
Big
a
dog!
big
that
dog.
sounds like one of the
simple
original X-Men.
The simple ones always throw me off.
I'm keeping TBH. Like
You guys
the
know
more
how
I
to get
thought
one.
about him, I was like, this is actually like a kind of a fun character. I'm gonna keep him in my back pocket. Maybe
You're
someday.
ready for that Maxi series on Big Dog?
Yeah, Marvel, hit me up for a 12-issue prestige maxi series about Lenny Del Toro,
Yeah,
Big
Why don't
Dog.
you guys write comic books?
This is
ask
this is us
ourselves
trying to
every
get our
day.
yeah, we're
This-
trying to
this
get
is
our
our
foot in the
pitch
door right now.
meeting.
I wrote the best Hulk story. Remember?
You
Remember
did.
I
that?
wrote the best
You
Aquaman.
really did.
Remember that?
Listen, Joe, don't worry. If Simple's throwing you off, I got the cure for you.
Round 2. Fight.
I'm gonna start with a fan favorite, Avalanche,
Love Avalanche.
who dresses like if the Nazis made their own version of the Rocketeer.
Wow. What a You're not wrong.
I never thought of it that way. I always thought he looked like off-brand Judge Dredd.
That too.
Avalanche, better known as Dominikos Petrakas,
Okay.
very Greek name. He was created by Chris Claremont for the Uncanny X-Men in 1981. So not much is really known about him before
Okay.
meeting up with Mystique, but Mystique is like, hey, I'm forming the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants 2. You know, because the problem with the original Brotherhood of
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
The problem with the original Brotherhood of Evil Mutants was branding.
And also
So-
Toad.
And also,
And also
Toad.
Toad.
I like Toad. Toad is pretty involved in one of my other ones.
Toad's pretty involved in a lot of stories. I just happen
Is
to hate him.
Toad Toad in the third X-Men movie?
No, Toad died in the first X-Men movie.
You remember?
Oh,
Storm
yes.
killed him,
The
Oh,
same thing
yeah.
that happens to everything else
Right.
happened to him.
and he was never seen again.
That's right.
Except for in when Mystique goes and gets him in the 70s.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he's in
Days of
For
Future
Days of Future
Past.
Past.
That's right.
Because timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
anyways, he moved to America from Crete, and he runs into Mystique, and she's like, "Hey, we're doing some evil shit. Like, do you want to do that?"
Mutants.
Evil mutants.
He just shows up, and they're like, "We're gonna go kill Senator Robert Kelly because you know."
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We love to kill Senator Robert Kelly.
The plot of the first movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if there's an evil Brotherhood of Evil Mutants around, you could best bet they're gonna try and kill Robert Kelly.
Yeah.
So
And they should.
So the X-Men, thwarted that, and then they did battle with like the X-Men and the Avengers here and there. Eventually, Avalanche is like, screw you guys, I'm going home. He leaves, and he decides to blackmail the state of California by saying, I forgot to mention, Avalanche's powers is that he can create earthquakes. So he's like, I'm going to. I just saw the first Superman movie. So I'm gonna destroy the state of California with my avalanche powers unless you give me money.
Turn all of my Nevada
Yeah.
real estate into beachfront property. It's genius.
So he's teaming up with Landslide, who is another X-Men character who could create avalanches, who could create earthquakes and shit like that.
Everybody loves to make an earthquake.
The dynamic duo.
The dynamic duo
What
of
an
earthquakes.
earthquake, guys.
Hulk shows up, beats the shit out of them. Avalanche breaks his arm trying to.
Oh no.
Picks his arm.
That poor bastard.
And he's just like, fuck, all right. I guess that's it for me. So later on he meets Mystique again. She's like, yo, what if we do the Brotherhood of Mutants again, but this time we call it Freedom Force because we're working for the government.
Worse.
Because the government's like, we don't like mutants, but you know, Mystique is sexy, so like
That's basically it.
so they're charged with finding Magneto because Mystique is always like in this like locked battle of like Magneto is my savior, but also I'm gonna kill him. So they're kind of just sent looking for him. You know, they're also sent to fight the Avengers by the government because that's what the government does. They're just like, hey, we need to have our military organizations fight each other for no reason. It's like if they're like, hey, CIA, why don't you go fuck up the FBI for no reason?
You say that like that doesn't happen.
Right. I was just gonna say that.
So you know, they're basically just used as government ops. Like they come into contact with the X-Force a lot. You know, he's just kind of a player in that. They're in the Gulf War a lot for some reason. They do a lot of shit in the Gulf War. And during one of the battles, he like abandons the Freedom Force during like Operation Desert Sword to save the Crimson Commando. And they're like, that's it. This is over. You fucked up too much. And Freedom Force is disbanded, but Avalanche, you could keep working for the government. So... So he goes with them, but then his best friend Pyro gets the legacy virus, which is Pyro's cool. The legacy virus is essentially X-Men AIDS. So
Yeah.
he finds out his buddy got it in the government, and he's just like, "Fuck this! I'm out of here. I'm gonna go open a bar in San Francisco." So he does that.
As you do.
And then for some reason the X-Men are like, why don't we all go to San Francisco?
They sure do that.
So they...
Full House theme song.
Yeah, it's the Full House opening, but it's just the X-Men.
Cat's going to have to edit that now.
There's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, there's a place of somebody who needs you. Everywhere you look, when you're lost out there.
The whole thing.
Wow.
That's so much. Why would you make her do so much work, Jake?
I'm a slave driver. What can I say?
Glad I don't work for you.
So, God damn it. Anyways, so he's like, oh, fuck, the X-Men are here. They're going to come beat me up and give me a wedgie. I got to get out of here. And he's
Why
like,
would they do that?
because the X-Men are jerks. He's like, they know I used to be a criminal. They're going to come and they're going to have sex with my mom. It's going to be horrible. And so he's like packing up to leave San Francisco. That's what they do.
No, that's what Wolverine does, not
Exact-
the rest of the
They're
X-Men.
gonna send Wolverine to have sex with his mom.
Wolverine, you're going to Crete to fuck Avalanche's mom.
Okay.
All right, bub.
So the X-Men basically come to his bar while he's packing up, and they're like, listen, we have a truce, but don't fuck up or we'll kill you. And he's like, all right, whatever. Because, you know, the X-Men are dicks. So they leave. He's kind of, you know, other stuff happens. There's a point where Norman Osborn is like fucking with San Francisco. The Norman Osborn.
Green Goblin himself.
He's somewhat of a scientist in this. So he's like trying to make it so that new mutant children can't be born. And there's like a bunch of riots. Avalanche takes part in them. You know.
You know that joke? Norman Osborn sucks.
Good talk.
He does.
What?
And then there's just some stuff. He goes into Utopia, becomes a resident there. All the stuff with Utopia happens. He doesn't really do a lot after that.
Great.
He creates.
I don't know what that is, but great.
It's a storyline.
Side note for Joe and for everyone else, Utopia is a point in X-Men history where the X-Men take over Alcatraz Island in the San Francisco Bay and say we all live here now, and it's called Utopia, and the government is just like shooting them all the time.
This is like the fourth time they've done something like that.
They love an island.
They love an island. Magneto loves an island. Magneto loves an asteroid.
Asteroid M. What was the other one that was this?
Island M.
What was the one?
Avalon is the name of his other asteroid.
Genosha.
Yeah,
Utopia.
Utopia, and now
Krakoa. There we go.
Wow.
Islands.
learning.
The
Islands,
X-Men love
islands, and asteroids.
They love a big rock that floats in something.
But yeah, Joe, that's what you're gonna see with a lot of X-Men characters. That eventually they just become background characters. Like, hey, there's that guy.
There he is.
He's over here. We didn't forget about him.
Round of applause. So yeah, he's just around.
Glippy, my
he does
favorite
stuff.
X-Men.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Just like Lippy.
One of the last things he did before the Krakoa storyline was he was kidnapped by Red Skull, who replaced his brain with a robotic brain so he would fight Captain America.
Cool.
And then
Captain America.
and then
so
he
cool.
and then he killed himself.
Whoa.
And then he was revived for Krakoa, and there you go.
Great.
That's the story of Avalanche.
He's okay.
He's
Okay.
he died, but he got over it.
He got better.
Now, my next one has been around for a lot shorter of a period of time. His name is Forget-Me-Not. He's one of my personal favorite X-Men.
Who?
So,
Leave.
I see what you did there. So, Forget-Me-Not first appeared in X-Men: Legacy, number 300, in 2014. Forget-Me-Not, besides looking like current day David Arquette, he
Wow.
he his power is that once you stop looking at him, you forget that he exists.
It's called My Home Life.
So he kind of works.
So sad over there.
Ignore him. Too many bad vibes going on over there.
We got to get that online therapy company to sponsor this show. So, Forget-Me-Not, his power is basically that he doesn't exist. So he works as kind of a Deus Ex Machina. So, like, whenever something's happening,
He shows up. It's me.
yeah,
Who?
they're like, "How did we survive
Who?
that?" Oh, it's because there's like a middle-aged man walking around the background that none of us notice. So,
Yeah.
and it's not just people, like technology forgets he exists too. Like, for all intents and purposes, he doesn't exist. Xavier has to create a mental reminder in his mind so that he know. Xavier's the only person who knows he exists because every like 10 minutes he gets like a fucking stick to the brain that's just like, remember him, and he's like, all right.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, him.
It's just.
Him again.
He's
Ah.
Alexa, set a timer to remind me that Forget-Me-Not exists.
Who?
Leave.
So no one really knows a lot about him. They assume he's been around for like 6 years, like at least before House of M.
What a weird assumption.
So
Yeah.
You know.
so he's not on any of the official rosters. No one knows about him. He did. He was in.
How convenient.
He was in the battle with the Brood. He was in Utopia. He was in Age of X as a soldier,
But no one knew he was there.
but no one knew he was there.
So
yeah,
was he really there?
it's very much like it's like a guy who claims he's like a Navy SEAL. He's like I was there. They just like I can't. My missions haven't been declassified. It's just
Okay.
so. Then the schism happened. Jeremy, can you explain the schism?
Okay, so the schism is Cyclops and
Why do you
Wolverine have an argument.
He's fucking dead. He doesn't give a shit.
Cyclops says we should train the children to be soldiers.
He's always having a fucking argument.
And Wolverine
That's all he
says
does.
Wolverine says no, we should put them in a school. And so
they should be in a museum.
Yeah, so they fight. They have a big fist fight, and then all the X characters pick a side, and the ones that stay with Cyclops stay in San Francisco, and the ones that go with Wolverine go to New York, and they open up a new school, the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning, and it's in Central Park.
He would.
Well, that's where
'Cause he's Wolverine, the eternal simp.
Well, that's where Forget-Me-Not went. He sided with Wolverine,
He would.
and I'm sorry, you enjoy child soldiers?
I mean, they're gonna be shot anyways, so like they at least prepare them.
I was-
Bad vibes over there.
This is why Marvel loves its Civil War storylines, because then nerds like us will be like, I'll be like, hey, we shouldn't kill children. Jeremy's like, I mean, more for the meat grinder is all I'm saying.
Man,
What,
I
I
can't wait
didn't
for
say
Civil War
that.
3.
Yeah, third time's the charm.
Right?
So-
Maybe that time will actually work.
So, anyways, Professor X is murdered. And
Again.
Yeah, again.
It
And
happens.
so, he's like, Forget-Me-Not's like, I want to die. He's the only person who
Now
knew.
he's really forgotten.
Yeah, no, that's the tagline. He goes to like Omega and Mimic, and he's like, "Can you take my powers away, please, so like I could live a normal life?" And then he's like, "You know what? Never mind, because like I could do good things still, even though nobody knows who I am." And he just went back to Jean Grey school for learning, and like he was contacted by the X-Force eventually. They found him. He saved some kids from Dr. Nemesis, and he got caught in this like trap that like I think Xavier school had, and he was saving some kids from being trapped in it. But since the computers forget who he is, he's just stuck there forever. And eventually, the X-Force. The X-Force figure out that he exists, so they go get him, and they're like, "You're gonna be a spy for us now." And he's like, "All right, cool. Why not? I'm not doing anything better with my life." And now he's on Krakoa.
Yeah, now he's like a cop.
Boo! I don't know.
Krakoa, like happening right now.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
I
was
don't-
the current era.
I'm waiting to read Krakoa, so all of my stories end at Krakoa. But I didn't know that, so thank you for ruining one of my favorite X-Men. You
Oh,
piece
they're
of
not
shit.
like cops, but he's like,
It's just structured like a police procedural, but they're not literally cops.
yeah, they don't arrest people.
He's one of your favorite
Yeah.
X-Men.
Yet.
I like him a lot.
He's a drip.
You.
Wow. Oof. Cutting words from Joe. He's
Yikes.
a drip. Put that up on the screen.
Drip.
That's
Fucking
just,
drip, dude.
that's just rude. That's just all I'm saying. Fine, then. I'll move on to my last character, you asshole.
And hopefully not a drip.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
waiting.
So, my final character is Wavelength. AKA,
Already a drip.
Hey.
Joe knows all about wavelength.
he first appeared in 1957's Strange Tales. Jason Jordan, a young man, created by Steve Ditko, who works in a newsroom. He's like he's like a field intern, and while he's there, just working the beat, all that stuff. It's the 50s. Now, it's the 50s. It's a scary time. What's the most
I'm scared.
what's
Just
the
talking
most
about it.
what's the most prominent thing people should be worried about at this time? Nuclear energy,
Reefer madness.
reefer madness.
Madness.
No,
Joe's got his finger on the pulse of 1950s issues.
that's right.
So quick with that, too. Reaper madness.
It's been on his mind.
He's always ready with it. Someone says, "What was the problem in the 50s, Joe?" Reefer madness.
What was the
man.
problem in the 60s?
Reefer madness.
What was the problem in the 70s?
Reefer madness.
What's the problem now?
It's reefer madness.
Reefer madness, baby. I don't know what to tell you.
So the terrifying thing is the television and radio. It's scary. We don't like to think about it.
Radio's been around for so long already.
Yeah, but it's scary. Remember what Orson Welles did? That was scary.
Oh yeah, that was scary. But we had a good laugh after.
So
TV is scary. How'd they get in that little box? Who's gonna get them out of there? People are running around with hammers, breaking TVs.
every night.
Come on, I'll save you. Grace Kelly, get out.
can I? Can I say I love Jesus Christ. I love the issue for this Strange Tales because the cover of Strange Tales number 57 is "The Door That Wouldn't Open."
Huh? Isn't that strange?
What a strange tale
What
that
a
is.
strange, what a strange tale. Oh, I left my keys in my car. Fuck.
Wow.
So, while he's working at this news station, a fire breaks out.
Uh-oh.
And he's kind of trapped in like the media room by all the monitors. All right, so he's backed up against the wall. Everyone's left, and he's trapped. You know, there's explosions everywhere. All of a sudden, one of the cameras falls, and like this like smoke comes out of it, and his molecules get all rearranged. You know, and
Like Danny
like
Phantom.
I was waiting for it. He's a phantom. So he disappears, but then he finds himself flying across the radio waves, just flying, all right? And he appears on the other side of town. He doesn't know how he did it.
A camera did that?
It was the 50s, Jeremy.
No one knows how anything works.
They don't know how-
Or TV waves.
It's
Jake?
both. He has...
Joe, they're the same thing.
No, it's
Joe, they're the same thing.
You gonna question Steve Ditko in 1950 whatever?
He has the ability to transfer his molecules into light and radio waves, to light and sound, and travel
Same thing.
across the radio and television frequencies.
okay.
So
Go on.
he decides to use his powers for good. He beats up
going.
some goons. You know, he gets
All
a
the
stupid
goons.
costume.
Different from crooks.
Yes.
And,
Goonin, way different than crooked.
you know,
Yes.
they can't stop
Yuck.
him because they're watching football games on a bunch of monitors while counting money. And he just keeps coming in and out. And he beating them up. So, he
I
kind
like that Joe's like, football? Like it wasn't invented in 19 whatever.
So they don't really do much with him for like 20 years. So in 1978, Chris Claremont is like, fuck, I need more mutants to feed me more of mutants. And so he's like retconning the shit out of like characters from like Strange Tales and Amazing Fantasy and all that stuff. And one of them was Jason Jordan. So he was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's not a camera. That doesn't make any sense. He has
That's stupid.
the mutant ability to demolecularize and become like radio and wave frequencies, you know. And as time goes on, he kind of
Microwaves?
you're getting ahead of me here. All right. So he eventually, sorry, hang on. He gets to we get to the 80s. He's been in the X-Men for a little while, you know. He's also still a field reporter for like television for some reason, because like for some reason X-Men also have regular jobs. Like,
Sometimes.
Sometimes they still go to school. They have lives.
yeah, so he's like becoming a very popular like guy. He's like he's like popular on the news. He's like, this is when anchors, people gave a shit about that, and he's like, I want to be the news anchor. I want to be like the number one guy. And he's like, and like he's been rubbing elbows with like guys at like Hollywood
I am
parties
the
and
Walter
stuff.
Cronkite.
So
Yeah.
he's
of
like,
today.
that's what he wants to be. So he's like, you know what? I want more power and influence. You know who has that?
Who?
Charles Xavier?
The Hellfire Club.
Oh, that's
God.
different.
That's the opposite of what I was going to say.
So the Hellfire Club are a bunch of wealthy, well-to-do BDSM mutant weirdos who
This is true.
all they do is they fuck and they do evil.
And drugs, Jake.
Yeah.
Don't forget that they do drugs.
Yeah, they're like an anarchist polycule.
Joe, do you remember Kevin Bacon from the movies?
Remember X-Men First Class?
Yeah, Kevin. That's the Hellfire Club. Kevin
cool.
Bacon
Okay, yeah.
and the guy with the tornadoes
And the Devil.
and the Red Devil and January Jones.
January, yeah.
Yes.
So
Great.
so Jason's already in this like kind of love triangle with Emma
cool.
with Emma Frost and Cyclops. So they, you know, so he's like, I'm gonna go to Emma, and I'm
Cyclops and Emma are fighting over Jason. Who gets to kiss him?
That's a very X-Men problem.
It is a very X-Men problem. Who's kissing?
So, they're like, yeah, we'll let you join. Just do this one thing for us. And, like, they're like, we're not really going to let him join. Fuck that guy. But we want to go fuck up the X-Men because we got nothing better to do. We want him to, like, lead us to where all these, like, kid mutants are so we could influence them, you know, with our evil powers. And so he does, not thinking any harm will come of it. There's a big battle. And then he's kind of like, Xavier's like, You're a dumb fuck, you stupid idiot, and he becomes very depressed. So that's when we get to the 90s. The
He comes back.
They all come back. So
Nobody stays dead. Nobody stays dead. Nobody stays gone. Nobody stays anything.
he didn't die. He just
But nobody stays anything.
he just became a disgrace. So. After that, he's kind of like publicly disgraced now. He caused this whole thing. He's like an alcoholic, and like, because Rob Liefeld got his filthy, filthy hands on him. So I want Rob Liefeld. I want a picture of him with like devil horns and flames all around him because he's a monster. So Rob Liefeld created Deadpool and Cable.
Go for it.
Yeah, he's like the most 90s artist ever. He's the guy that like made everybody real jacked and put pouches on them.
Hell
And
And
gave him big guns.
fanny
Yeah,
Yes.
remember the edgy extreme crimson chin? That's what he did. He
Great.
did that.
Love that.
Rob
Also, he can't draw feet. Most
Yeah.
of his characters, they get cut off at the ankles.
and the women are drawn so that they're like bending backwards, like they don't have a
they're
spine
yeah,
to support their gigantic tits.
It's a good time.
yeah. That's,
He
that's
basically
it.
said, like, how could, like, what if Frank Miller and Alan Moore had no talent? He's like, what if I was 2003 Frank Miller before Frank Miller was?
Wow.
Alright.
He's a visionary, a prophet.
Ahead of the curve.
So Liefeld was like, I could do something with this guy. And I'm writing X-Force. So I want him in that. So the X-Force find him because they're like, you know, like your powers had been growing when you were in the X-Men. You know, we think you could be stronger. You could be an asset. Around this time, he's getting like, he's able to control more and more of the like the light spectrum and everything like that. He can control microwaves and shit like that. So he changes his name in the X and gamma rays too. So he changes his name to Heatwave because they just use him. They send him in to assassinate people and he melts their brains.
Nice.
And he's just like an edgelord alcohol. What? Rob Liefeld's a
no,
terrible
I think
writer.
it's funny. Just the like, all right, you can like travel through like the TV and you can like do stuff with radio waves and like, but what you could do that would be really sick is like if you cook people from the inside out. And he's like, that is fucking sick. You're right.
I should base my entire power set on that and nothing else.
Why should I have more powers? That would mean the creative team or the one guy who's doing everything
Would have to think.
would have to remember all of that. And he has too many pouches to draw to remember that I have more than one
What's
power.
in all these pouches? All I do is cook people.
His seasonings.
Oh, he's also a cannibal.
They're full of spices. He leaves the spices on people. That's his calling card.
Gross.
So, yeah, so he becomes
Oregano.
he becomes a cannibal atomic chef. And he
That sounds like a Warped Tour band.
Cannibal atomic chef.
Yeah.
so he moves on with his life, you know, in the X-Force, you know, gets some closure, thinks he's doing good now, helping the government and stuff like that, you know, and the government hunts him, so it's like a dance they do. So then, you know, the 2010s come, like 2012, Brian Bendis is like, what if I wrote one of the most like hated X-Men storylines ever? And he's like, so they did X-Men versus the Avengers. And they were just like, it just ran for 700 years. And So during that storyline, they were like, we need to get all the Omega level mutants. And at this point, Wavelength is an Omega level mutant because they've discovered his powers are so strong he could turn off the sun if he wanted to. So they're like, we can't, like, what are we going to do with that? I got a bow and arrow. So Iron Man and Hank Pym, Hank Pym's good with particles. That's like his thing. That's one of his special interests.
Yeah, he loves particles.
They created a device. They created a device so that
Not waves, only particles.
No.
only particles.
Different.
You ever hear about the Pym wave? Never. Only the Pym particle.
So they create this device that once it's like they're like, once he like evaporates himself to escape, they could like just vacuum him up, and like so they trap him in this canister where they like kind of break down his door, and like they're like, get him, and they just like beat the fuck out of him, and then when he tries to escape, they trap him in this canister, and like all the other Avengers are like, get rid of him, like we can't have we can't have that like waiting around. So they're like, all right, we'll get rid of him then. But like that was a lie. Tony Stark is like, maybe we could do something with him. So like Mr. Fantastic builds a giant super collider, and he puts Wavelength's particles inside of it and traps it, because they're like, we could probably use him for something later. That's a great power set to have. And so now he's trapped in a Hadron Collider, and I don't read Krakoa, so I don't know. Is he free currently, or is he still trapped in the Hadron Collider?
I think they've mentioned him, but it's kind of like one of those, like, if they were to break him out, it's like an international incident, and I don't know.
They're already dealing with that shit with Cyclops and him letting the cat out of the bag in X-Men with Ben Urich.
Yeah, so like they kind of have to. They're like, oh, we gotta be careful. We can't just like let a guy who could turn off the sun out and let him live on our island paradise. Turning off the sun though is really funny, and like I could only imagine like being like inconvenienced by something and being like, I could just turn off the sun.
I'm pretty sure that Sinister has referenced him though, because as we all know, Sinister loves to get his hands on nonsensical powers.
Oh yeah, Sinister loves anything that's just like, turn off the sun, you say.
I would love you to be able to do that. So if I could just have that canister so that I could do that.
Thank you very much.
That'd be great.
My name is Sinister. No relation.
And he's in the government. You know that, Joe?
the
Mr.
SF
Sinister, a man whose name is Mr.
Mr. Sinister
is a member of the government.
I love Mr. Sinister.
the Essex Corporation.
I also love Mr. Sinister, but he's like truly one of the most vile men to ever exist.
That's fine.
All right, question time.
All right. What was the first two again?
Avalanche and Forget Me Not.
All right, Avalanche and Forget Me Not. So we had Avalanche, Forget Me Not,
Get out.
and Wavelength.
Yes.
Wait, Wavelength? That's right.
Yeah, Wavelength.
Slash Heatwave.
Slash Heat Wave.
Heat wavelength.
Heat
Leave.
Wavelength.
Eat Wave.
Eat wave.
Cannibal Atomic Chef.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, questions.
I've broken him.
This is the hardest part.
I've broken the bat.
Always the questions.
Always with the question.
This is the hardest part.
You're asking them. You're saying it like I have to come up with something to answer.
Forget Me Not.
Yes.
When did he first show up again?
In like 2014.
Oh, he's like all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you said he was recent. Avalanche is pretty old too.
He's like the 80s. Yeah.
Oh, he's an 80s guy.
He still talks about like Back to the Future and Ghostbusters. He got really mad when they made Ghostbusters into women, and like He's like, it's only because I respect the art form.
An all-female Ghostbusters team? The feminists are taking over.
I'm an adult virgin.
The art form that is Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
They just don't respect the craft of busting ghosts. I'm busting over here.
Hot take: Ghostbusters is bad.
Cat, add a splat sound effect to the I'm
What's up with
busting
the
over
splat?
here.
Stop
Put a
splatting.
splat for everything.
This is Jake's fetish. He just loves a splat sound.
Don't put that on me.
What a drip.
You... Yeah, Jake loves it when something splats and then drips all over him.
Forget me not sounds so fake. Wait, heat wavelength is so dumb.
Nothing about Avalanche.
Not about Avalanche?
It's really hard.
The Greek man who creates... Why is he called Avalanche when he causes earthquakes?
No, Jake.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, Jake, because you could hardly pronounce his name, so he's real.
Got him.
Damn!
I could have just Googled the first Greek name I could.
Alright. I was gonna take a guess here. Damn it, please. Oh, God. Okay. I'm gonna do it.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna do. Oh, this is so hard. Okay. Am I trying to go psychic?
This
right
isn't,
now?
it's not the end of the world joke.
Trying to go psychic.
It is for him. He's on a losing streak.
Just say a name.
Okay. I think Forget Me Not is fake.
Wrong.
It was wavelength.
It was way fuck.
You got closer with this one, though. This one you were like, the fake one was one of the two you were going back and forth on.
Yeah. Okay, great.
All right, last chance.
Final round. Fight.
All right, Joe, you ready?
Yeah.
First up, Robert Herman, also known as Glob Herman, because it sounds like Rob. You get it? It's clever. So, Globby Boy, he looks like a skeleton. You can see all his organs. He's got no muscles, though. His eyes are popped out, and his skin is paraffin wax. He's a wax man. Right?
Jesse's
Yeah.
so excited about this.
Waxman. Waxman was made in the early 2000s by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. No, I'm sorry. Ethan Van Sciver did Glob Herman. Oh, no. So he joins a neo-Nazi school group with Kid Omega, a couple other kids. Famous scene is that a member of the neo-Nazi group, I believe his name was Torch, lights the Waxman on fire. Because, he's a big candle man. And then he goes and chases a car down of humans and be like, I'm the Inhuman Torch! And tries to kill them because neo-Nazis. It's great. It's a great time. Eventually we learn that neo-Nazis are bad. It takes a while to get there, but we do that. Glob repents. Goes into the background for a while. Pops up again in the 2019 soft reboot of, House of X and Powers of 10 by Jonathan Hickman. And he's just hanging around with Krakoa. Hangs around with other people. It's a big wax man. There's nothing really crazy about this.
He raises chickens now.
Yeah, he's just a big wax man. Glob Herman.
Glob Herman.
Very simple. Next we have Lord Gordon Godfrey, also known as Phantasma Gordon. English Lord. He is invisible, and to us, the reader, and to the people around him, it's like Forget Me Not. We're not actually sure he's real because the only people that confirm his existence are the Stepford Cuckoos, who are Emma Frost's daughters. Clones. It's complicated.
That was... Holy fuck. That was a series of words.
Keep going.
Yeah, so the Stepford Cuckoos are a hive mind of psychics, and they confer with Gordon Godfrey because obviously they're psychically linked with him, but he can't speak. No one really feels him. No one can see him. Sometimes people like fall over or get hurt, and the girls blame Gordon Godfrey, like, oh, he's attacking you, like he's doing this, he's doing that. So we're not sure. Is this like a goof? Is this a bit the girls are doing? What's happening here?
This is like
I love Gordon.
He's got to have been made by Neil Gaiman or Grant Morrison.
No, yeah, it was made by Grant Morrison.
I
This is another
fucking
Grant
called
Morrison.
it.
I love the Cuckoos. I love Gordon.
Yeah, like if it's a bit, I love it. If it's not a bit, like one day we'll get like this crazy story, like he was real the whole time, and like something wild's about to happen.
It's been a long time
It
though,
has
and
been a
they've
long
been like
time.
playing this goof. Or
Yeah.
something.
Also on Krakoa, like the goof is still going. Like the girls still talk about Gordon.
It's been like 20 years.
Yeah, like we love Gordon. And then finally, I have Joseph. Joseph is a young, hot clone of Magneto who's evil.
Young and hot.
Young and hot. So young and hot, wants to fuck Rogue. And Rogue wants to fuck him.
Ooh.
It becomes a love triangle with Rogue, Gambit, and Joseph.
Say less. Okay. That's it.
That's all I got for you. Very, very simple and easy.
That's Joseph.
That's Joseph.
He does a lot of like just generic we turn back the clock on him because we want evil Magneto again, but Magneto was very much a good guy at the time.
Okay.
So how do we have good Magneto and evil Magneto at the same time?
Okay.
Joseph.
Okay.
Joseph.
Questions. Okay. Where does Joseph come from?
Joseph was a clone made by I mentioned her before, Astra, who we know nothing about Astra, but she's like a mutant powerhouse that just kind of shows up sometimes at pivotal moments and is like, I'm gonna fuck with continuity maybe, or I'm gonna like, here's this person's power now. Oh, I brought a clone from here now to add to the team. Like she just kind of like is around. So she made a clone of Magneto and it's like, here it is.
Why though?
We wanted evil She's evil.
Okay, she's
Also wanted evil.
okay.
So how do we get evil? Young Magneto.
Young hot Magneto.
Young hot
Hot
Magneto.
Magneto, yeah.
I think old Magneto is still pretty hot.
Yeah, Magneto's hot regardless, but now we have a young hot Magneto.
Yeah, old Magneto is like daddy hot, but
Yeah.
like Joseph is like zaddy hot.
Joseph is like 20, I think. Like
yeah,
he's
Why-
he's
young.
like
Why isn't Quicksilver hot?
Because Quicksilver sucks.
yeah. He could be hot if he like wasn't a fucking like catty bitch all the time.
Okay.
Imagine, so for Joseph, imagine you, but with stark white hair.
Yeah, no, literally, this one he's like long white hair and he can fly and has magnet powers.
Yeah.
So Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Joe.
Joe, but with white hair.
Okay.
And then I describe what Glob Herman looks like, and no one knows what Gordon Godfrey looks like.
No one knows who Phantasmo.
Phantasma Gordon looks like because is he real? I don't know.
Okay.
Phantasmagorian is such an excellent name, and every day I thank Grant Morrison for unlocking their third eye and conceiving of it.
Wait, so what's Phantasmagorian doing right now?
He's still allegedly hanging out with the girls, the Stepford Cuckoos.
Allegedly. It's fucking
What do they do together?
The Stepford Cuckoos? The Stepford Cuckoos are currently in charge of Hellfire Trading, which is like the evolved form of the Hellfire Club. They run the economy basically of Krakoa, like all the trading going in and out of the island. They do refugee saving of like the mutants that couldn't get to the island.
So is he involved in all of those things?
Of course, because he's basically like the attendant of the girls, allegedly.
Okay.
He's like an invisible Big Daddy from BioShock.
Yeah, sometimes they talk about how much they love him, and other times like he's just like their best friend. Like, what's going on with Phantasmagorian? I don't know.
You know, I was so worried. I had so much shit to explain in my ones, and then you're just like, yeah, the Stepford Cuckoos have this invisible man.
I'm not gonna bog him down with a bunch of side details unless he wants to know it. But like, I gotta get to these characters.
I do really like Phantasmagorian's the only male that the Cuckoos have ever collectively agreed to like.
Yeah.
Every other boy that shows up, one of them is like, oh, he's cute. And the other four go in unison, are like, oh, no.
Not him.
He needs to die now.
Never him.
All right.
Okay,
You got
wait.
any more questions?
Yeah. So wait. So when does Joseph show up?
Joseph first showed up in the 90s.
Oh, so
He's
pretty old.
older than Phantasmagorian and Glob Herman.
Glob Herman.
Yeah, Glob Herman.
Glob Herman.
Glob Herman.
Glob Herman.
Because he looks like a glob of wax.
Glob Herman's like a fan favorite, too.
People love Glob Herman.
Even though he was part of that neo-Nazi group.
Exactly.
We forget, we ignore the neo. Everybody had a
That's
neo-Nazi
his
phase when they were
primary
like
story.
14.
That's his main story.
I didn't.
All right, Jake.
That's his main story, was that he was in a neo-Nazi
Oh,
group.
I was never a Nazi. Grow up.
I really hope Joseph is real. I really do.
But who do you pick?
Because I like Joseph. But
What?
And so does Rogue.
How vain of you.
yeah, I like Joseph.
Joseph.
Joseph. God, Jesse, that sounds so made up.
More than Glob Herman.
A bit. a bit more. Glob Herman and Phantasmagorian.
Yeah.
This is so fucked up. What you doing to me right now?
Lord Gordon Godfrey. He's an English lord.
This is so...
Just couldn't pick someone that sounded a little bit real.
One of the guys' name is Joseph. What do you want?
Joseph? Glob Herman?
Just Joseph.
It's just Joseph. He's a clone.
That's a real name.
Clones don't get last names.
Okay. I'm gonna say that Phantasmagorian is fake.
You did it, Joe.
You fucking did it!
He fucking did it.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh man, now we're
What
never.
gave it away?
What gave it away?
Just a big guess?
I mean, it wasn't a big guess. It was between that and Joseph. It was.
That was
Glob Herman sounded the realest.
holy shit. Now we're never gonna air this episode.
This is someone that never makes it.
All right.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm also proud of you.
Thank
You
God.
did it.
Congratulations. Put up the
The
Evangelion
odds really
clapping
proved
gif.
me this time.
Now, if Marvel wants that 12-issue maxi series on Phantasmagorian, I'm available.
Hire us.
Hey everybody, it's me, the loud one, Jeremy. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow us on all of our social media accounts that you can find linked here. And also be sure to follow our editor, Kat, the only competent person in the entire team. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.